Hi, this is Troy Rink for Denver 7, and Monday the Broncos plummeted back to earth, dealing with the humbling loss to the Buffalo Bills. It showed the gap between the Broncos and Super Bowl contenders. We've talked about this when they played the Chiefs, and you saw it again on display Saturday against the Bills. So where do the Broncos go from here? They have 2 games remaining against the Chargers and Raiders. You could argue they'd be better off losing those games to improve their draft position because they're not going to the playoffs. They're not going to have a winning record. But you never say that about professional athletes. The coaches and the players, they're there to win. And Vic Fangio, when I asked him about the goals, he said he wants to see improvement across the board, and that includes at Drew Lock. And I addressed some of these issues today in my story on thedenverchannel.com. Questions persist about these Broncos, and some ongoing valuations are important over these final 2 weeks. Is Drew Lock the man? Will they bring in a veteran in the offseason, a Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew, Mitchell Trubisky, that type of player to challenge and compete and put Lock on notice? Or do they swing for the fences and try to get someone like Matthew Stafford from the Lions, who my sources say will be available? But again, the acquisition price will be steep as well as the salary, so that's complicated. What about on defense? We spend so much time talking about offense. The defense needs playmakers. They have 12 takeaways this season. That ties for 31st in the league. They're at a minus 18 turnover margin. That is easily the worst in the NFL. The next closest team, San Francisco, at minus 11. The Broncos were plus 1 last year. That kept them in games, and they almost had a winning season. But this year, the turnovers have been nauseating. We know that. But they're not making plays enough on defense. And yes, part of it, they're not leading. So that traces back to the offense. But this offseason, they got to be looking to add a starting corner, because you don't know how much you can get from Bryce Callahan, even though he was terrific. And you also got to get more contributions from the linebacker position, maybe a coverage linebacker. But they've got some things they've got to address and look in the mirror, a stern look in the mirror, as they try to get this thing back on track. For Denver 7,